Hi everybody, welcome to a quick recap of what's going on so far on my trains layout. This is a little, I guess, mind-melty because I'm re-uploading videos that I've already uploaded a couple years ago, but that channel was deleted because of YouTube reasons. But I have since recreated Brandondood trains, and I am re-uploading all of those awesome little train videos about my model railroad and my wall train and the progress so far. So what I'm going to do real fast, kind of ignore this. So this channel is called Brandondood Trains, so I changed a little bit from the old one. So welcome everybody, hi, welcome to Brandondood Trains. What I'm going to do is do a quick run through of the videos up till the bridge is created in my house, and that might not mean a lot to you right now, but you'll see kind of what's going on. So in my house, in 2018 I bought my own house. I went through this unexpected divorce and I bought my own house, and then I just needed to get away and I needed a project. So I'm like, well, or I actually started playing Red Dead Redemption again, and I super enjoyed that. And in that game, there was a really good train system, and I started playing with the trains and following the routes and seeing how precise the trains actually were in that game, and they were really good. And then I was like, oh, I have this box of old HO scale trains in storage. I need to get those out and let's do something with them. I have my own big house and I want to do something. So here's a fun little picture. So I kind of get my house set up. I have a really nice small, it's just a fun little nice house, and I started playing games and I realized I have room for these HO scale trains. So I started searching online and I found a couple ideas of people making wall trains and suspended trains and using the room much better than a tabletop layout, basically. So, because I didn't have enough room for a tabletop layout. Like, I do have a giant garage, and I could probably throw something in there. But eventually, way down the line, I'd like to have an even bigger house with a basement or some kind of quote-unquote man cave. But it's not really that. It's more of a hobby area that I can make a train layout. But I didn't really want to get into scenery and realism yet. I wanted to just have the trains be just the trains and glorious. So I pulled out my trains and I started playing with them. So here you can see I have a couple of them in a beer, because why not? And you can see the chassis system in the background right there, going just 100 miles an hour, just as fast as it could, just having a great old time. And this is how I used to play with trains in the past. I used to set them on the ground and click it all together and run the trains, and eventually I'd run into all sorts of problems all the time because the connectors would be loose, or the train would jump the track and nothing was level. It was just sitting on the ground or the carpet. I was like, alright, I need to see if I can make this work better. So over a winter and many beers, I decided, let's tinker with things. Oh, here, let's throw this. Nope.
I have 16 feet of track.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to play this video on the right screen, but there we go. Let's go back. So there's a Santa Fe train cruising by. So those are my original trains that I had from a super long time ago. So that's a nice, here. That's a F-unit Santa Fe. Just DC power. I only ever had DC power. had a coal bucket, a tanker. So this Durango passenger car I actually got from Glenwood Springs, Colorado with my stepfather, Doug. He took me to a train show there, and I had a wonderful time. I will always remember that. Thank you, Doug. And he bought me this, it was my nicest car back then. The rest of them were very, very plasticky and just felt like a toy, but this Durango car felt like something special. It was more than just plastic. It was the next generation of really cool trains. The detail was phenomenal. It rolled better than anything else that I have, and I loved it so very much. You can see my chassis system B&O 4810 and a AETSF little steam engine right there. That one is number 98, I believe. But you can see all this is the cheaper type of track. It's not the bronzed, it's the I can't remember. But it's not a great track. I think that's all Tyco, which it does okay, but the conductivity was also a big thing. I was also always shooting sparks, and I'd have to run the train as fast as it could to jump the gaps that were in the track, or the dead spots, basically. Let's bump up a couple here. So this is my original lineup. You can see all my pretty cars there. Santa Fe doesn't even have a number on it. Well, that's interesting. I guess I never knew that. I wish Santa Fe was still producing trains in our area, because we have Union Pacific and BNSF in Grand Junction, where I am, Grand Junction, Colorado. And while yes, I see the trains every day, it's just like, oh man, I missed the really cool trains. We just have the standard like GP38s and GP45s and the special duty, and they're all just diesel engines, and they're all alright. But like, these were special. In Grand Junction, we no longer have a roundabout or anywhere for the steam to run. Steam trains to run. All that has been taken out, so it's all diesel here. So anyway, back to my layout. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna put these trains on my wall because that's completely unused space, and it can sit there and run around the house and be phenomenal. So what I'm like, alright, I decided I want to get it up on the train, or up on the wall, and at that point I decided I only need one track. So I went over to Home Depot and I found this trim piece, the wooden trim piece, and then a particle kind of board painted in white. I was going to sandwich those together, lie them on the wall, nail them to the wall, and run a train on top of that. So here's another angle of that. I'm going to sandwich those together, and kind of like that. That piece there, I think, was like 1.25 inches. Oh, look at that, 1.75 inches. Oh, excuse me. Oh no, that was a flat piece. Anyway, so what it would do is I would take a rail, a piece of cork bedding, and the base, and I would run those just like that, in that configuration, on the wall. And at that point I was like, okay, all I need is one rail to go totally around the house. It'll be super interesting enough, and it'll be fun. I think that was my plan at that point, and it was coming out really nice. I had these nailed down. It was decently level while it was on the floor, mind you. Let me Here, let's fast forward a second here till I find this. Here, let me. This right here is my original diagram that I drew while I was driving a 18-wheeler because I'm a lunatic. So this is the base layout of my house, excluding the top left is where my bed is, top right is where the garage is. So the TV area is center top. I was like, okay, I can run train around the top left, run it down through the kitchen in the bottom left. Then I was going to do and I thought about it, I was like, okay, I need a double line that I want a return line from the kitchen back through the dining room where it says double wide, back through the dining room all the way over, and then do kind of it would be kind of a dog bone situation where it loops up upon itself, and then through the kitchen on the bottom side here, I would have a single line run to the back of the living room, cross a bridge, and then back into the living room area. So that was the plan. I liked that plan. It was a great plan. And when I started building, so this was one night, I was like, all right, I have some resources. I have the wooden trim piece, I have the flat board, I have... How did I do that? I actually... So I only ran like 8 feet of... I only ran... Here, let me... Excuse me. I only ran about 8 feet of track right there, but it was powered. So I had a power supply over here, and I had the power actually ran through the wall. Why would I do that for only 8 feet of track? And you can see Game Grumps playing things. But I ran 8 feet of track as basically a proof of concept. I nailed it to the wall, I think with a nail gun, a pneumatic nail gun, and it was decently level. Decently, I will say. It wasn't the best, but since it was only a single track, I could get away with it. So I plugged in my Santa Fe unit, and I think that night, this was winter 2018, and I was just like, I need to do something, so I started building this. So that night, I ended up creating another section to the rear over here. So let's watch that video real fast.
Alright, I have 16 feet of track. It's wired.
Here, I'll mute myself a little bit here. So, whoa. So I had the base wired through the wall, created another section of track. So I didn't do the sections back to back. I had them offset, so it didn't like, if it did move a little bit, it wouldn't be both pieces moving. It would hold structure. So it made sense at that point. So this was kind of the original test run of my HO scale wall train. Look at him go. I do have this original video on my channel. It's probably up by now. Look at him go. 3,500 going for it. And this was DC power. Didn't want to go too far. So, the whoa. Let's open that a little bit up here. So over here to the right is my coat closet. Past the door to the garage. So my trains actually go over my door to the garage and over my bedroom door, through the pantry. But it goes towards this coat closet, and I was like, boy, what do I do with that coat closet? Because it doesn't go too high, and the trains don't go too low. And I lucked out so crazy much in this house where there was just enough, like perfect amount of room that I can put a hole basically in the coat closet and run the train straight through. it was a crazy random happenstance that is just perfect for this house. So as I started or progressed to this point, I realized that I need a better base. So this is what I ended up going with. So I went with a 2-piece crown molding. I went with this bottom standard crown molding, and then put a 3.5 inch piece of board on top of it sideways. So what that does is it gives me plenty of room to add 2 lines everywhere. So this is my original over here. And I after I had it up, I did not like the look of this natural wood at all. I love natural wood, but everything else in the house is white painted. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep the look of the white painted. So I pulled that other section down and put up this new. Here's another picture. So I put up this new, and on this far side I did also, and did a perfect 45-degree cut. Oh, I was proud of myself. Of course, trains don't work in 45-degree angles, which we'll address later. But having that 3.5-inch piece of wood gave me two spaces for trains that were actually enough room apart where they had enough clearance. So here's my B&O and my Santa Fe 3500 just hanging up there for display. This is them side by side. So there's plenty of room for trains, especially going in a straight pattern. Through the turns I did add more clearance because turning reasons. So you can see that corner there, and then goes above my back door, my sliding glass door. So that went over pretty well. God, I love those old trains. During this time also, I was rebuilding several trains. My BNSF motor I love. It is one of the best DC motors I have, with the exception of it rattles. One of the bearings or something in the motor gets up to like a quarter of the speed and starts rattling and shaking, and it slows itself down and it makes crazy noise, and I have to get it sent in to rebuild. It breaks my heart because I love that motor. Here's a daytime view of my corner of my house. So this is the living room area. There's that corner, goes across my back door, and then here it prepares to go into my pantry, my food pantry. Oh, here's me holding that BNSF motor at work, because why not? Oh, I love that. It's GP382, obviously. I could tell because it says it right there. 2257. I was trying to order the handrail set, but I haven't been able to find it. It's been back ordered or out of stock for a super long time because these haven't been in production. I think it's Athern. I don't remember. Maybe. So that was my collection at the time. It's much different now, but this was my collection at the time. Because so that picture was taken December 13th, 2018. Let's pop forward here. More fun train randomness. I was testing probably clearance again between each other. Looks like I'm on one of the boards here. It doesn't have cork underneath there, but maybe I was just testing things. At that point also I got a couple Facebook auctions, or not auctions, but Facebook posts, and picked up a super ton of old used trains. Like amazing amount of track and an amazing amount of rolling stock. You could see the Union Pacific in there. That one is a 841. That's a glorious engine. it's just so many amazing things. That was a super cheap, it was like, I don't know, like $100 for all of this, and it was left, it looks like it was left in somebody's basement or left outside. It was kind of heartbreaking, so I brought it all home, started cleaning it all up. I'm like, this is super fun. Oh, you can see there's the 841, there he is. Had a lot of issues, was missing, oh wow, missing his rear gear. We got Baltimore and Ohio engine. That works super good. Another Santa Fe, the B&O. Did I haven't updated that one, but I plan on making this B&O a DCC. So that was some of the stuff going on then. We're getting close to the point where I started building my bridge. Oh, this was the layout idea of what was going on for the switches above my front door. So what I was thinking is this turnout here where it switches tracks was going to be in my coat closet, which was down or up to the top right. It would be this top right section, but it ended up not working out exactly how I wanted it to, so I ended up scrapping that and do a cross section basically here where these switches are, so it was all out in the open. In case something went wrong, I didn't have to get into the closet to correct it. Oh wow, I had a cross for track 2 to go into the yard right there. That's interesting. That's a really cool thing that I could still incorporate into my layout. There's a nighttime view when I was probably like staying up way too late, drinking way too much whiskey, playing with way too many trains. But at this point, you can see that I have on the very, very far side wall, I have all that trim totally installed. This little dot here by the lamp was where the bridge would start to cross and come over to where the jukebox is. And then that very, very far side is my yard. That is so cool. Is that train parts? That's train parts. So here is just setting a train on the rail, on the edge, just to see what it would kind of look like and see what it would feel like and see how scary it would be. And it was definitely scary at first. None of this track was level, none of it was straight. I mean, you could see how much it's all twisting and bouncing around. So, and it doesn't have the corkboard also. The corkboard makes all the difference when you're lying track. Looks like I did pick up, oh wow, that was a whole crate full of O-scale railroad that came with one of the bundles that I got on Facebook, but I don't have any O-scale trains. I have half O, HO. So I ended up giving all that to my coworker Derek, who he has amazing old O-scale trains. So this is a lot of the track that I ended up picking up. Started categorizing, organizing, and cleaning because it was terribly filthy. So you can see I'm doing it by brand and by finish for different materials and the different conductivity. And it was, a lot of it was so dirty where I actually washed it in my sink. This is me washing Dawn dish soap, washing track in my sink. Now I know you're like, oh, water, you can't, it's bad. Yeah, oh, I know, but to get a century of dust and dirt and like spider eggs out of this track, this is what I had to do. And then I was going to clean, like professionally clean and treat that track afterwards, which ended up working very, very well. Here is the layout I ended up going with. Almost. Huh. There's a lot of interesting things I didn't do, and did do. So this is just me sitting on the floor and kind of planning. This is the yard. This 2 tracks to the left going to the bridge. I got a nice cross section. I actually have a full cross here that I ended up not doing. So what I ended up doing was cutting this on the inside rail here, cutting that switch out, so if anything needs to get into the yard, it actually goes past the outside rail into the yard, and then it splits outwards. So that's very interesting. There's another one of the same thing, just with my Slinky girl. Hey, Slinky Slinky. She was in the process of cleaning herself. Don't tell anybody. Hi. Oh, such a pretty girl. There is the switch in the yard. That was the whole system. Okay, just more pictures of exactly the layout that I had sitting out there. Pretty interesting. Started categorizing everything and bagging all my track. There's that. Then we started getting to the point where I started cutting holes in my walls. Because I'm like, well, I am a homeowner now, so this house is mine. I can do what I want, right? And it was terrifying and amazing and freeing. So this is the first one I made right here. This is the one that started it all. The one little hole in the wall. So I ran the trim, the crown molding, and the I guess the piece on the crown molding just right up to the wall. I'm like, all right, well, I need to cut out now, so I did it. And I crazily lucked out where I was directly between 2 beams about 4.5 inches apart. And that's all you need to get 2 trains through there. And I was like, that is unbelievably lucky. And then I ran the trim over here and started cutting into that wall. And there was exact same configuration where there was this perfect little path. So I cut the walls inside and out, and then put duct tape top, bottom, and the sides to make sure that everything is sealed totally fine for the wall. This is inside looking at the first hole, so that's towards the living room. So I coated it with duct tape. I think eventually I need to get really flat black paint and coat the duct tape with the flattest, mattest tape I can. This is the far hole looking in towards the closet. So I hung the same type of trim in the closet at the same height, and then I had to do a couple little tiny S-turns because there's a 2x4 right there. But that's fine. So I had to add a little spacer to push this out a little bit. Excuse me. But it was going to be awesome. During this time also I was thinking, alright, I have to figure out some way to make a bridge. I don't know how to do that. I could run a 11-foot piece of wood, but when the trains, even small little toy trains, 11-foot piece of wood, it's gonna bow that piece of wood. So I had an idea. I went over and I got a piece of super strut. They use this in construction to run through like roofs or ceilings of like hospitals and stuff. And this one piece is incredibly stable. So it doesn't the flex of it is so minimal. So this is from the upstairs. You can see little Slinky checking out the bridge, my little bridge. Wow. There's the coat closet where the train will come in and the train will come out. And then over here on the very right is my yard. I had the 2 tracks coming in, and then it narrowed down to 1 where I can make a loading area. At some point I decided that was a bad idea, and I changed that to 3 tracks over here for storage. But we'll get to that soon. Also, I was playing around with the idea of having beer trains. But a 12-ounce beer is way too heavy for a HO scale model train. Like O scale or even G scale definitely can handle beer. HO, very iffy. It can pull it, but it's so top heavy. Here is a downstairs view of the bridge. So that is just set on the crown molding for that little while to see exactly if I wanted it there, and I had plenty of room to walk under with several feet above me. It looked great from above. I was like, well, I think this is my solution, and it ended up being perfect. So I cut into the trim, or the board above the crown molding, set it down, screwed it in, and it was glorious. It was perfect. I'm like reveling like how amazing that was. That was such a cool thing. So that was the whole bridge. It was installed just like that. And I was like, well, alright, so now I have a base for the bridge. I still don't have a bridge. Like, it bridges the gap, but I needed something visually better than just open platform, I guess. Here's inside of my coat closet. That was an amazingly strange piece of wood to cut. I had to measure that time and time again, and I finally got it perfectly well where it would sit inside, and it was just a strange. So this is the first hole right here going into the living room, and back here goes to the yard. So that was a fun, strange piece of wood to cut. Here's me above that piece of wood. Here's another picture of me above that piece of wood, and that's wide enough for 2 rails to go inside the right side of the coat closet, through there, and then pop out into the living room. So I'm basically going through my photos kind of day by day and seeing what I was up to at that time until the bridge was made on this project, because that's kind of where we're heading to here. This is the far side of that. So I didn't do a trim piece on the far side of the wall. I don't know why, but I guess that's fine. It wasn't really needed for anything. Well, let's fast forward here. Oh, I started doing I started replacing all my whiskey couplers with knuckle couplers. Whiskey? Gotta have whiskey. But the whiskey couplers were old school technology, and I really adore the look and the legitimateness of the knuckle couplers. So I started replacing everything that I have. Oh, I love that. Look how, I mean, that's micro, just tiny. They're tiny, but look how good they look. I love that. Alright, this is the main portal. So I started doing a little bit more digging, see if I could get into that wall, but I couldn't, so I ended up having to repair that a little bit. And measuring how much clearance I actually needed. It's such a small space. It looks bigger than it really is, but that's less than 4 inches tall and 4 inches wide. Alright, so here eventually I made a run to the hobby store and I bought some porcelain portals. And I put it up there, it's like, oh my god, it looks so pretty. Like, I could have left everything white, but I wanted a little bit of realism. I can't add a lot of scenery to this layout, but I wanted a little bit of realism, so I ended up painting those eventually. This is the very, very far side in the yard. So I added cork bed. I have a single lane where I can add trains onto the track without having to stand on ladders. There's another angle of that, and that passes the bridge, goes into the coat closet. It's a one direction kind of a system for sure. I have a crosshair and a magnet coupler. So this is me gaining several trains and cars and starting to get into cleaning them up and fixing them. You can see here that everything has knuckle couplers. Wow, yeah, everything has knuckle couplers, and that looks glorious, and I love that. Alright, we're getting a little closer to me getting the bridge built, which is good because I'm getting awfully it's like 5 a.m. because this is what I do. I don't know why. Oh, those are all broken. How about that one? There we go. Some more wall train. This is me, obviously. What the heck? I actually, oh my goodness, I actually had that X piece, that cross piece installed at one point? I don't remember that at all. That's amazing. I don't think I had it for too very long. Huh. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Huh. I'll point at that. Oh, I think this was the night where I decided I wanted more than one single track on that far side. Yes, it's my loading area, but I also wanted a yard. Because this was small. It worked. But I wanted something more. So I went back to the floor layout to see what else I can invent. And I think that day I didn't come up with it. But I was still playing around and wanted to see what I can create. Oh wow. Okay, so by here I removed the second track and just went with a single outbound instead of the cross section for the going into the bridge from the yard. This is the far corner in the living room. I decided I didn't want, or I needed to make some kind of a turn and couldn't do a 45-degree angle like I said earlier. I had to do some kind of a circle. So I, through painstaking measurements and crazy things, I made this perfect piece of wood. I screwed it in and it was perfect, and I was very proud of myself, and that's me on like 2 hours of sleep. Very proud of myself. There's my B&O 4810. That is the coat closet looking towards the... Nope. No, that is that is a new portal. That one was the kitchen. From the kitchen looking to the back of the living room. So I lucked out with that one yet again, with these 2x4s being the perfect distance away. This is it from a little bit further. So like, wow, that is so amazing. So I ended up working into the kitchen, and this is the hard left to right that I had to make in order to get over here. If I went straight into like this section of the wall, that would have gone through the bathroom, and that would have not worked very well. So I needed this crazy S-turn situation to happen. Oh, look at that. And I made this perfect piece here and this perfect piece here, and I had this gap, this wild, crazy gap. That was like, what am I gonna do with that gap? But it's still running double track all the way around. You can see there's definitely more space and more gap, or more clearance between each other. Then I found this perfect piece of wood and I glued it in. I was proud as can be, and it took forever. There's me, proud as can be, taking forever. And then it was done. I was like, okay, I need to just sand that. And underneath, I added these little tiny, not struts, but support beams. And then I stylized them. I think this is balsa wood, like balsa long pieces of 1/4 inch stock. And it worked out perfectly sitting on top of my cabinets. And then I stained those, and I'm like, well, those look lovely stained. I still haven't got to the point of the bridge, but I think that's okay. So that was me very proud of. That was the end of that month, and I was exhausted and proud as can be. I guess not only the end of that month, but that was the end of 2018. So I think I'm going to leave this video here at the end of 2018. I was a little tired right there. Oh, there, we got a whiskey, so we're fine now. So I'm going to leave this video at the end of 2018. And yeah, those are the updates on the setup so far. I think right during this time also I started discovering DCC and the incredible things that can happen with DCC that my trains could do. So I was very excited for that prospect, and I knew for sure I wanted to incorporate that into this layout. So I'm gonna call that here and say thank you everybody so very much for checking out this channel. Thank you to my wonderful girlfriend who's let me just explore any cool ideas that I have on this house and just be myself and my fun, weird awesomeness, and it's so cool. I want to thank you guys for checking out this channel. It's brand new, and I want to thank you for being here. Anything you guys like, just sitting here and watching helps. The like button super helps, the subscribe, all those change the algorithm and help the channel boost up, and I really appreciate that. I need to go to bed. It is very, very late. I have finished my whiskey now and should go to bed. Okay, I'm going to try to release so many more videos here very shortly to keep this train a-rolling. Okay, well, we'll see you all soon, okay guys? Comments and questions, let me know, and we will see you soon. Bye everybody.